How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane. I'm here to give you my review for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Before I go any further, please hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell as well so you can be notified of more reviews like this. And please, if you want to support me even further, my Patreon link is in the description below. Ghostbusters, literally one of my favorite franchises. Actually, the first two movies are two of my favorite movies of all time, bar none. It's hard to pick between one or two because they're both actually really good, but bar none, the best. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, in 2021, Ghostbusters Afterlife came out. You didn't do a review for that. I didn't, but I did watch it literally 2 hours before I went to see this newer movie. Review for that will be coming out this weekend as well because I want you to know my thoughts on that movie. And boy, do I have some thoughts on that. This one here, I'm going to be doing a fair bit of comparing it to Ghostbusters 2. Because while this is technically Ghostbusters 4, Ghostbusters Afterlife being technically Ghostbusters 3, we don't talk about the 2016 one. But I will talk about the 2016 one when I get to talking about Afterlife. The Afterlife is very comparable to the first movie. And this one here is somewhat comparable to the second one. I wish I had a Ghostbuster shirt. So, I got Yu Yu Hakusho, sometimes called Ghost Files, but I did have to get my AMC had the traps. I had to get this one here, and apparently this bad boy lights up at the bottom. I don't know if you can even see that. Cool part about this thing is that you can just take this off, Once it's green, the trap is clean. Supposedly, got knobs and whatnots on here. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never ever considered cosplaying as a Ghostbuster until these two movies, because they actually really make me want to. Let me put that hardware over there. So, as with all these, I'm not gonna do play-by-plays for a movie like I do with episodes and seasons for shows sometimes. Pardon me, but for this, I'm gonna let's hit some things here because I do have some thoughts. I left out of this movie actually satisfied, but there are some points here that do deserve to be brought up. So, as with most of my movie reviews, let's talk about. I haven't done a movie review in so long. I'm going to talk about the feel of this movie first. And the feel is important because that's actually how I paid attention to Afterlife today. It's after 2016, which didn't feel like Ghostbusters. And just the marketing behind that, where it's like, 20 years ago, but nah, we're not really Ghostbusters. This is actual Ghostbusters. The movie starts, I have a Ghost Corp, the production company behind the Ghostbusters movies. New production company, Ghost Corp, working with Columbia via Sony Pictures, blah, 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 blah. And when it opens, it starts with that music that first started in the original Ghostbusters. That, ooh, it's the music, fantastic. Just that, it feels so much like this all feels like one franchise. And that's pretty much I said I wouldn't talk about 2016 Ghostbusters. I'll talk about it parts of it right now. It feels so much like it. It feels like it's a continuation. This feels like the same world, just 40 years in the future. Oh, goodness gracious. Because Ghostbusters came out in 1984. This is 2024. This is the 40th anniversary, which is partially the reason why this is out now. It actually got pushed. It got pushed back because of the writer-actor strike, but then they pulled it forward. It's supposed to be on the 29th of this month, but they pulled it forward a bit to be on the 22nd/21st if you can get early screenings. And it just feels great. You got to remember that where's my guy here? The gentleman who directed the first two movies, Ivan Reitman. He didn't do co-writing. That was just Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. His type of movies have a feel to them, and he was produced on this movie until he sadly passed away in 2022. But his son Jason Rittman, who was in Ghostbusters 2 as one of the kids in the party that went He-Man. His daughter Catherine Rittman, she's actually a little girl that Egon was doing the experiment with. So that's it. Just yeah. That's how you do it, Taika Waititi. That's how you get your kids in movies, subtly, not overtly. I digress. Really great feel for this movie. I get in, instantly feel nostalgia. It's not as strong as Afterlife for sure when it comes to nostalgia, but you feel it. The music is classic Ghostbusters movies. You know, the different themes, like the strange things are happening with the woo, the synthesizers. Not a ton of modern music. Like I heard some modern-ish music because Afterlife was full of like different songs, especially older songs given the setting for that movie. This one was a little bit tamer. I'm glad it wasn't bogged down with so much of the modern stuff. The only complaint I do have, since this, I'm comparing this to Ghostbusters 2. One of my favorite movie songs of all time is Bobby Brown's On Our Own for Ghostbusters 2. Great song. If you haven't heard it, that's okay. I'm going to put the link in my description right there so you can listen to it. Music video too. I got to compare those music videos one day because the Ghostbusters theme has so many actors. Has Chevy Chase, has what's my guy that plays Columbo? I can't remember his name at the moment. It has so many people in that. And then in the Bobby Brown one, Donald Trump is in there, which is funny as shit, right? But don't worry, you know, that Donald in that one got Chevy in the other one. So you had two a-holes in the music video, so don't worry. But I'm kind of looking for like a theme song for this one. Get someone to do some type of chilling theme. I mean, what? Who can I think of? I guess you wouldn't want... Could rap fit for Ghostbusters? It would have to be... I can see R&B. Maybe be some... You gotta pick someone who would do something great that would tie it back into Ghostbusters and do the whole thing. Like, none of that Out of the Shadows Ninja Turtles, I got an orange Lamborghini, I call it Michelangelo. None of that stuff, right? I'm sure there was a way to do it. I mean, Dan Aykroyd and Jason Rittman have ideas for at least 3 sequels following Afterlife. So this is one of them. Afterlife actually made a lot of money. Like, it had a budget of $75 million. It made $204 million. Don't know if this one's gonna get there because they spent $100 million to make it. I'm hoping they at least make their money back. Maybe. It's a good movie. I didn't think they would spend that much money, and they use practical effects, which I'm gonna lead me into my next point. The effects are great, and I love. The older I get, and it might have started when I was 20. I like sitting in the theater. It didn't start when I was 20. It started when I was 18, 19. I love sitting in the theater and just reading the credits, seeing who helped. It's kind of respectful, you know. All these people who have a hand in these movies. Pardon me, I'm getting allergies acting up. These people who have parts in these movies, and by parts I mean the lighting people, the sound people, etc. And I see puppeteers. You had puppeteers for Slimer, puppeteers for Garrick, the big bad demon guy in this one. The fact that there was practical effects, that is really what sets this and Afterlife apart from 2016, is that it's not a CGI fest. And it's crazy because we're in a day and age where, yeah, you should be able to use practical effects and have a marriage of that and 3D effects, and it looks great, and you feel like what you're looking at should and could exist in the real world. Really good effects. The proton particle effects, the trap particle effects, the ice effects were really, really, really good. And there's a lot of great new stuff. Before I get into great new stuff, because I feel as though I'm going to forget this if I don't talk about it now. The opening of this movie started with a poem by Robert Frost, which I shall read for you really quickly. It is: some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I held with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say the destruction of ice is also great and would suffice. First of all, I appreciated this coming up because the background for it was really good with the clouds and all that. That was nice how it just slowly appeared and no one was reading it. It feels like it would lose something if somebody was reading it. Just my opinion. Also makes me realize one of the main themes through here, Ice and Fire, is probably inspired by this poem. Let's talk about some new stuff. We're going to get into this nerdy shit. Let's talk about new stuff. There's a Knuckle Duster Proton Pack thingy. We do see them test that out in the... What was this place? What was this place called? Winston funded. I got to look at my notes real quick. Second movie, protected, containment, blah, 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 blah. PKE... Nope. Paranormal Research Center. And they got a bunch of different Ghostbusters stuff here, like Knuckle Duster. We see the girl Lucky from the last movie. She is training with learning to use the proton pack even more efficiently from the first movie. We have a drone trap. This movie doesn't start off slow like the first one, like Afterlife. It does the little backstory of the hint to get you settled in. Then we get instant chasing of the Hell's Kitchen sewer dragon. And when it gets further away because the RC car trap that we saw in the last movie can't get to that altitude, they have a drone trap, and that's freaking amazing. There's new proton packs, which... I'm going to mention this twice because it's so smart to make new proton packs just in case your stuff gets taken and just in case the other ones get broken. I love that we have people reverse engineering what Egon made because Egon made everything. And since he's gone, you got to find people who are just as smart to reverse engineer all of this stuff. We did see the Vigo slime thing. Someone was practicing with that and just getting that to work. We have the Ecto C, which is a, motorbike with a sidecar that, what's my guy called? That Ray actually uses to get to the old library. That was pretty cool. So we got Ecto 1, we got Ecto C. I don't know if that was supposed to be like a joke for Ecstasy. I hope we get a Ghostbusters boat, right? I hope we get a Ghostbusters boat. Or we get a full Ghostbusters motorcycle that's like Ecto R or something, or Ecto 5. I want more Ghostbusters vehicles. Maybe a second car that's a muscle car. Yeah. That's cool. Fun fact though, I think the Ecto C was from the toy line, and they did a lot of toy stuff, and they did a lot of toy stuff in the Afterlife movie. And just I'm hoping we get more toy stuff later on. Just incorporate all of this stuff. I put this as part of the new stuff, but I guess I should have put it some of my favorite stuff. We learn how the containment field works. Like when they, you put the traps in, when the thing is green, the trap is clean, or when the thing is green, the world is clean. Is what Winston said towards the end. The containment field is technically a more long-lasting trap where you transfer it and it's supposed to technically indefinitely hold the things in there. And I love the fact that, I love the fact that, how do I put this? They bring up stuff that you probably think of as like a fan or a hardcore fan, or if you're just a person that like to nitpick at things, not in a bad way. It's like, well, so when you put them in a trap, where do they go? Are they just stuck in there? And essentially, Janine says it. Yeah, it was the 80s. We really didn't think about what else to do, right? And I can't wait to talk about the first movie because I love how they address okay, well, why aren't people talking about the Ghostbusters anymore? Why do some people know them, but it's like the younger generation doesn't know, and that's so real. But that's not this movie. And they have new containment fields. So that issue of, okay, well, what do we do when this gets too full? Weston already had people working on it. Had a massive containment field that's supposed to hold, enough ghosts. That's what is it? You say like the Eastern Seaboard, like if as big as that. That is one of the great things, like one of the cool things that D has done. And that's just some of the cool stuff. They even do the title. I don't know if I mentioned it. They just go straight into the title. That's one of the things I appreciate about the Ghostbusters movie. Like, they don't leave you hanging or anything like that. It's like, all right, here's the stuff. Ghostbusters in Frozen Empire, Ghostbusters Afterlife, or Ghostbusters 2. All right, you got the title. Let's get on to the good stuff. So let's talk about the plot. So, as I sit here and talk, it's a good plot. It's not super fantastic. Oh my God, amazing. It's a good plot. It's one of these, again, I'm comparing it to second movie, where it's like the second movie was like, that's a pretty good plot, pretty decent plot, and that's why it's hard to compare the two. I will give Afterlife a leg up on this because nostalgia. I'll give into nostalgia, right? But the plot, essentially, if you haven't seen this movie and you care about not being spoiled, there are some spoilers. You probably, if you haven't read the title, right? Title of this video. Essentially, it's what's between Phoebe's 15. She was 12 in another movie, so I love this real time progression. She was 12 in 2021. She's 15 now, 3 years later, 2024. She's 15. They get in trouble with stupid ass Mayor Walter Peck, who was some type of environmental guy in the first movie, still a douchebag. And they're like, yeah, no, she has to be benched. And it becomes this thing where she's like, well, this is what I meant to do. This is what she feel like she's meant to do. It doesn't realize that Gary, her mom, and even her brother are legitimately looking after her, trying to protect her. And Paul Rudd does such a good job. Such a good job. I can't wait to get to actors and characters, because he does such a good job here. There's this back and forth of, well, what are you to this family, Gary? And like, you get the feeling like Gary wants to be like, well, I'm her dude. I want to be her husband. I want to be these kids' father, because I love these people. But it's like a guy who's like trying not to overstep boundaries. Although there's a part in the Afterlife that I appreciate. They made up for something that happened in the first movie. Soup. Dang it. I'm probably going to forget it. I wish Rick Moranis in some way or form was in here. Maybe a picture of Louis Tully. Because, man, I always considered him part of the crew. No matter how goofy or, how much of, amongst nerds, he even seemed like a dweeb. But I wish somehow he was in this movie. Or at least mention, like, oh, him and Janine got together, right? And the backdrop for all of that is, well, there's this orb with a entity inside of it who can kill you by freezing you, and it's not just a normal type of freeze. It's like, it is the touch of death. It freezes your blood, your bones creak, and you're just dead. You're frozen dead. And they got to solve this problem. And wait till I get into how they needed to solve this, or who they needed help to solve from to kind of solve this. So you get quite a few ghosts. I mentioned the Hell's Kitchen sewer dragon. Slimer shows up. Slimer was not in Afterlife. Good call on not putting Slimer in Afterlife, because why would Slimer be in that setting? Makes no sense. I'm glad Slimer showed up in here. There was a phantom teeth ghost in one of in the paranormal place, where since they can pull ghosts from haunted items, they have a way of containing them, which essentially is like the containment field, so you can study them. And it's this one ghost that sinks into the shadows that have these teeth. I wish he would have gotten out just so we can see how he hunts and so we can get a scary moment there leading up to them going, okay, well, now we got to focus on the bigger threat. He looks so cool. And there's two other ghosts. I don't remember the second one, but the last one's the possessor, which is just this red dot that possesses different inanimate objects. And it's a super dangerous ghost because think about it. If it possesses a plane, it can make the plane crash and possess something else. That thing ends up becoming a miniature MacGuffin to get the bad guy to where he needs to go. Kinda. And where am I at here? Fantasy Slammer Possessor. Melanie or Melody. I don't know if her name is Melanie or Melody. Actually, I always pull up the Melody. Her name is Melody. There's even a bar called Melody something something. She is a ghost who died while burning down, and she is the reason why her whole family died because of lighting a match. And she has an item that always has one matchstick that she keeps lighting, and she doesn't know why she's doing it. But of course, that does another thing I'm talking about in the ending. And then we have Garok. Or is it Garok or Garuk? Let me make sure I have this guy's name right. Is it Garok? I feel like his name's Garok because I saw Garack, Garok, who's demon guy, Sumerian, of course. Always these damn Sumerians. You go back in time, he was helping a king to rule over people. The king's like, yeah, nah, I don't want you around no more. Pulls off his horns, which is the source of his power. Part of the source of his power. Chained him down, and then when he was raging war against half of the land of Asia, these fire masters come. They use brass and fire to contain him. And he is our big bad. Now we got some callbacks here. Callback 1 is Ghost Chest, just like in the first movie. I keep saying first movie. This feels like a second movie. And Afterlife, Ghostbusters 3 technically. We get Ghost Chest scene but it's not Egon this time. It's Melody. Are there too many characters in this movie? Well, again, compared to the second movie, you have Louis Tully, Janine, Sigourney Weaver, Janosch. Does Vigo count? He shouldn't because he's a villain, right? Then you have Oscar the baby. You have the mayor's assistant in that movie, and you have cameo littered about. You do, but you have those characters in this movie. You got Mayor Peck. I don't know, the new British guy who's like Winston's assistant, right? You have Kumail Nanjiani's character. I try not to call him Kumar because I was running for Kumar. You have Melody. I don't know if she counts because she's a ghost. And you have Patton Oswalt, which is funny because Patton Oswalt called anybody who didn't like the 2016 movie. He says, "Oh, you're a neckbeard that lives in your mom's basement." Even he tried to come down on the angry video game nerd who made a very eloquent video about reason why he didn't want to watch that movie because it felt like a cash grab, which it was. You picked the worst writer and director for that movie, and then you put Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig in the front when technically the two best characters and actors in that movie was Leslie Jones. What's her name? Jordan? Leslie Jordan. No, yeah, Leslie Jones and Kate McKenna. Two best actors in that movie. They were naturally funny and had great lines, and they were great. I digress. The fact that Patton Oswalt is in this movie, I thought it was kind of funny, but he did a good job, right? So, were there too many characters? Not really. When you think about Ghostbusters 2, with all the different parts moving, and there were people there in place to get the plot moving as well. Like without Janosch, you have no way of getting close to Dana and stealing, Oscar. Without Kumail, you have no reason for the good guys to have the orb and for the misfortunate accident. Same thing with Melanie. You got to have a reason to push Phoebe's teenage angst forward. It's quite interesting here, but yeah, these characters play a part. You may think it's too many. I do have issues with Kumail in a minute, but we'll get to that in a second. Cameo from the original library director. He shows up and he was like, Mr. Dr. Ray Stans, you're not welcome. He's like, I'm here. Well, I'm going in. That was adorable. We also see the library ghost. Library ghost comes to mess with Ray again. Favorite parts. The opening chase was amazing. Seeing the family, the Spengler family, because even Gary's like, yeah, you want to be called Spenglers. We don't want to be called Goobers. His name is Gary Gooberson. Yeah, no, he'll probably change his name to Spengler if those two get married. But yeah, the Spenglers, right? That opening scene is great. I love the heart-to-hearts that Paul Rudd's character that Gary tries to have with Phoebe, the moments with Phoebe and her family, Phoebe and her mom. Mom's name is Callie. Phoebe and Callie, Winston and Ray. After the shit hits the fan and the lion gets destroyed because the stupid possessor's in there and he's gonna kill Ray and they gotta stop him. There's a proton pack inside the little motorbike too. Isn't that cool? Winston and Ray it was an argument that was very reminiscent of the second movie. That's why I'm bringing it up. And then Winston just tells him, shut up. These are your golden years. Go get some sun because you definitely need it. And Ray is saying to him, this is how I want to spend my golden years. And I think that's the connection he feels with Phoebe. Phoebe wants to be a Ghostbuster. Ray loves what he's doing. Even if he can't get in the field, he loves it. When you see the car go down the street past his occult shop, he smiles. And it doesn't feel like a sad smile. It feels like a genuine, I love that this is still going on. Those are some of my favorite moments. We're going to talk about character to character. Almost every character. Winston. If you don't know, the character of Winston Zeddemore was supposed to have a larger part in the first movie. Originally to be played by Eddie Murphy. It was turned down for one reason or another. And certain execs didn't want this movie to have that black character have a lot of parts. So his part was whittled down. That's why you get so much more Winston in the second movie, because, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and a couple other people are like, yeah, no, he needs to have more time. He needs to be seen more. That's why he even gets a heroic moment of saving them. Winston is such a big part. Like, his philanthropy is what helped pays for all of this ghost stuff to be experimented on, to find more breakthroughs, to get more ways of protecting more people and getting the job done and securing things for the next generation of Ghostbusters. He is, if it wasn't for Winston bought the what was it called? The firehouse. He bought it so that they could keep doing the ghost busting thing. Fantastic. It's actually pretty damn cool. Where else am I at here? Snub. Yeah, I mentioned the snub here. Janine is Janine. She showed up in the first movie. She has a bigger part here. She works with Winston. She suits up just like she did in the cartoon. So for anybody that's like there's never been women Ghostbusters, Janine Melnick's suited up in the real Ghostbusters cartoon. She was the first lady Ghostbuster. In the comics, the Chicago branch of Ghostbusters, 3 women, 1 guy. So many better ways of showing it, and I feel like these newer movies have done a great job of including more people while not shutting out other people who would complain about these things. Just period. But Janine, I've always had a little bit of crush on Annie Potts. Just full disclosure, the first 2 movies, everybody's like, ooh, Sigourney Weaver. I was looking like, nah, that Janine, man, she's doing it for me. The glasses, the snarky attitude, kind of explains a lot now that I think about it. Regardless of such, love that Janine suited up. Phoebe, still the best new character, period. She was adorable in Afterlife. She's adorable in this one. Even with all her faults, I'm like, I understand this character. I love this character. Her actress, McKenna Grace, currently 17, going to be 17, 18, playing a 15-year-old, which means when this character turns 18 in 3 years, she'll be much older, just like our guy playing Trevor, Finn Wolfhard, he's technically 21. He's playing an 18-year-old. So these people look young, and they can keep playing these roles for a longer time. Give me 2 more movies. You can do 2 more movies, because that next movie will be they're stepping out further on their own, and then that last movie would be like, yeah, we're Ghostbusters International. I would love that. Phoebe's still the best character. Second best, still Paul Rudd. Even on the production stuff, he's front and center. That's wait. You can't even see that. But on there, he's first. And then Bill Murray, because it's Bill Murray, is second, even though he showed up for like 2 times in here, right? Towards the middle to test Kumail's character's fire stuff, or see if he's a psychic being or metaphysical psychic person or whatnot, whatever. And then towards the end. But yeah, Paul Rudd being front and center, he's a good choice to lead your franchise of Ghostbusters. He is, I feel like, Grace, Phoebe is the soul. He feels like the heart. He has heartfelt moments. He's very genuine. He's very earnest. He accepts these people for who they are, and he loves. But he makes the jokes. He made the joke about to get her mom back on board, to say, something strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call, and something weird that doesn't look good, who you gonna call? She's like, yeah, we're the Ghostbusters. He gets her when they think that, yeah, this is it, the firehouse is gone, or she thinks that, and she's like gonna be like, yeah, I'm used to moving on. He's like, no, I want to fight for this. He convinces her. He is definitely the heart, second best character. I'm gonna be honest, Trevor, I can take you or leave you. I get your role in here. You get us more of Lucky. I appreciate that. Him and Lucky will probably get married in one of these movies when they get older, more than likely. But I get it. He's 18. Keeps talking about he's an adult. He's lazy and aimless. He has some kind of weird connection with Kumail, because it's a joke about what's more impressive, the son that becomes a doctor or the one who's aimless in life and still makes it get by, and talks about number 2. It's not. Don't be like Kumail from this movie, please. Even though he has firebender powers. Ray, golden years. I talked about Ray earlier. I won't rehash it, but this is how he wants to spend his golden years. Bill Murray's there. He shows up. This is probably the best scenario, because I finally eased up on forgiving Bill Murray, because we could have gotten Harold Ramis while he was still alive. We could have gotten a Ghostbusters 3. Now, would it have been good as Afterlife? Who knows? Like, it is so crazy that there's some triumph with that tragedy. Just the fact that that movie turns out so good, since him passing is the heart of that movie. Who knows? But Bill Murray does his thing here. There's even a joke where he comes in, he's like, yeah, let's get to work, and he reaches behind the box, right where the Ecto-1 is, reach behind a box, and there's still liquor he stashed there. So all good. Everybody, all the returning kids are okay, right? Podcast is still podcast, but he's working with Ray, which makes sense. His recording everything and working with Ray to improve his thing, especially the connection they made at the end of the Afterlife movie. This is a good continuation here. That's why you should definitely watch Afterlife before watching this if you have not seen it. That's a good continuation there. Good containment film. So let's talk about a little bit of problems. And I know I'm at 34 minutes in, but let's just talk about a few things that came to. Why do I want to get, like, I was going to say one death scene, but there's technically 2. The very beginning, where the people who were inside the Manhattan Adventure Society, a bunch of white dudes in 1904 who like to collect all these artifacts, as British folks do, stealing from other people's lands, they get frozen because on a xylophone they played the chant that unleashes Garrick, and They get killed. And then the fire master, there's a fire master smoke shop. And the crazy thing is Kumail lives above it. And when Garrett comes in, like, are you the fire master? He's like, yeah, what does it sound? He gets frozen, and then ice spike kills him. I'm going to assume, because in the trailer here, it was very much made to seem like the people on the beach ate shit. A lot of people in the city ate shit too. But we do see, like, people in the frozen New York, they're hiding and they can't move and get out. So we do see how it impacts people. There's real damage when they bust ghosts, especially in that chase scene. Things are damaged. People can get hurt. I assume some people got frozen, and you're stuck there unless you shatter like the other thing, right? That opening scene where everyone's frozen, the hand was detached from the arm and it was still going. That was insane and cool as hell. I gotta call that out before I forget that. I love seeing the day-to-day life stuff within the firehouse. They're still trying to fix it up. I love seeing how the family interacts. Although mom seemed kind of lazy on her phone. Although she is kind of trying to teach Trevor a lesson, talking about he's an adult. Go take care of the Slimer ghost that's in the attic, right? And Slimer ate the possessor ghost when it turned into a pizza. I thought that was funny. Lucky needs more parts. Like, she did really good in Afterlife, and it was nice seeing her here. I hope in the third movie, when we start promoting these kids, where you have like Gary and Callie, they're still working with their kids, but they're letting them do more of the stuff by themselves ish. Because this movie, she lets Trevor drive, which is cute. But I hope we get more of, here's Lucky, which I think is probably her. I don't know if that's her real name or not. Probably is her real name. But then you got podcast, bro. You need a real name. I get that he's Korean. They're from a small town in Oklahoma. But can I know his real name, please? Can he not just be podcast, like his name is J5 or something? Give him a real name. Another callback was the Stay Puffs from Afterlife, which was a callback from the first movie. They show up in here. They steal a truck in the after credit scene or mid credit scene. Here's one of my biggest issues. Kumail Nanjiani's character, entitled Nadim, is a dumbass. All of this bad shit happens, not just because Phoebe is sad she's been manipulated by a ghost. Why does this guy, and they even ask him, they're like, so, PKE meter goes off on him. They found out the matter they made him, a flame behind him on a Bunsen burner went up, and then he has this ability, and we learn about the fire masters. I go, if your grandmother was one of these keepers, either she didn't tell you or you didn't listen. And he's like, that's probably I didn't listen. He sold it, and he was made to seem sleazy, and he was. In my theater, I was the first person there, 2:30 showing. First person there. I thought I was going to see the movie by myself because of how empty it was, but then you had 2, 1, 2. 6 people in this theater. When the funny parts hit, they hit. His sleaziness didn't really come off. It come off as like a slight chuckle, but then you realize, I don't like you. You get $100, even though you're trying to sell everything for $60. And like, oh, I don't have change, and run off. You're selling stuff. You live in an apartment that's the size of a closet, and you find this hidden room in the back. And instead of thinking to yourself, man, there's giant horns here. There's all this brass and copper. What is it for? Nah, you think, let me take this little orb and sell it to the guy who gets all of the crazy, possibly possessed shit. His character is so unlikable. So for the end of this movie, for him to wear his grandmother's armor, which we see in the opener, which is probably a great grandmother or a great grandparent, for him to have this moment, like, he saves Trevor because the proton pack is possessed, and he firebends the proton beam, right? Firebends the proton beam, and then, he used up all the oil in the lighter. But when the ghost chick comes and she lights a match, and he takes that fire, uses it, helps it melts Phoebe, melts the family, melts the other OG Ghostbusters, which then go down the basement to fix the containment. The family backs up Phoebe, and he's trying to hold him in place because they're going to use the original containment to suck him in. He's only gone from the containment because he needs an army. He can control ghosts. I'll get to that in a second. So his whole fire bending shit, he's like a MacGuffin. He's literally a MacGuffin, a walking, talking MacGuffin that is so unlikable. And essentially, if you didn't have him, there wouldn't be a plot. He is our Janosch, because he sells the thing, and then Janosch is the one that's trying to fix the haunted painting who gets possessed. Literally, he is our Janosch. He is our dumbass of the movie. And I go back and forth. I'm like, could they solve this without him? I would have preferred it. So my second issue, why doesn't everybody do copper plating? Because you can't do brass. You can do copper. How come everybody doesn't do copper plating on their coils inside their proton packs like Phoebe? Why doesn't Phoebe go? Because Phoebe talks to Ray and like, okay, brass is hard, but copper is related to brass. Yeah, that could work. Because dude got caught in a brass/copper ball. That's how you beat that type of demon. Cool. I like that. And I'm watching the movie. I'm like, okay, she's melting part of that copper/brass, whichever one it is, pole. Why isn't everybody else dipping their shit in there so that they can be protected as well? Because at the end of the movie, after she's done fighting with Melanie, saying he's not going to get you to the other side, you got to find your own way to get your unfinished business. Her particle beam is green, which I like, because if you light up copper has a green flame, which was cool. But when we found out, because of Lucky trying to use the proton pack on him, that dude could freeze proton beams because he is the chill of death, why didn't she go, okay, everybody, I'm going to dip this in here. Let's get 4 of us to dip it, and we can at least hold him off. He was still super strong because his chilly McFreeze breath did freeze her in place and stopped her stuff from working. But why didn't you just have everybody do that? That is a thing that just didn't make sense to me. And I kind of wish that that's how they solve things. Now, I told you that trailer lied. They weren't on top of the building. Another thing I kind of wish, I get that he was going to the main building because it has the most ghosts. Why didn't he take the ghost out of the paranormal research building? Like when the power went down and they started being able to get out and then he closed it again, how come he just didn't go, all right, break this glass, all of you with me, and then we can have different people? Because you had Lucky and Trevor on the building playing lookout with the tricycle that was haunted. It was kind of funny. That was one of the jokes that didn't land. The other joke that didn't land was when the kids, Phoebe and Podcast, were looking for the trash bag, when they were like, oh man, it's going to be hard to find, when Dan Aykroyd and Patton Oswalt get outside, and Patton Oswalt was like, oh, there it is. I knew that was a joke and it didn't land. It kind of made me go, that one fell flat. But you could have had everybody with their some people with the copper stuff standing by for Chili McFreeze, and separate fights going on to be like, cool. Is that kind of formulaic? It kind of is. It is formulaic. It is not like Ghostbusters. This is just a thing personal for me that I would have probably rather see. But at the same time, it's either that or you have Firebender Kumar helping, not beating, helping. Because that was literally one of the lessons of Afterlife is Egon had the right idea, but you need help. They needed just more than the 4 of them. You actually need 5 or 6 people to get that plan going. So, and I like that that's the theme kind of for these movies. You need more than just 4. They can't just do it. It has to be a team effort. So, who knows? That's just my little gripe there. Melanie's match thing was also a MacGuffin. Here's another thing. So, Melanie kind of gets Phoebe to trick her, because Phoebe's like, even with a Ray, like, if you ever wonder what it feels like to be a ghost, and he's like, yeah, they exist on different planes, blah blah blah. And the thing that pulls out ghosts from possessed items like a CD player, etc., a doll, and then they put them in a containment. It can suck the soul out of a person, but only lasts for 2 minutes. So she gets sucked out. But here's the thing. Inside the orb, dude is able to control ghosts. He's even trying to get the ghosts. The little Stay Puffs are hitting against the glass. I think those might have been the third ones. Getting against the glass once they bring them back over. And he's able to control them, but they can't do much. Because what he needs is the chant. So once Phoebe, who is technically a spirit, her body is still there. So he takes control of her. You make the spirit talk. It makes her human mouth talk as well somehow. That was kind of confusing. I understood it, but it was kind of confusing. And to me, I'm like, well, how come? Okay, he can control ghosts, but he can't control humans. Does that mean he can't control human ghosts? Melody is working with him purposely because she wants to cross another side because she misses her family. Ooh. I don't know why he couldn't just. It would make so much sense if he controlled her because he saw the connection he had with her. We saw that she was working with him from the beginning. Saw that, she had a connection with Phoebe. Make her possess Phoebe and then have Phoebe say the lines. Just go in her mind and know that she has the lines and just say it. Because they broke the little Xonophone thing. But I don't know. That part was a tiny bit messy too. I don't know. I kind of wish there was icy hordes, but at the same time, yeah, it wouldn't have been a Ghostbusters movie if they would have did the icy horde thing. Hopefully, in the third movie, we get them busting more isolated ghosts, kind of like in the first movie where there was like separate missions. You had the Slimer one, and you had the library ghost lady, and you had, I think, a montage of them going back and forth. We could do with a little bit more of that. Patton Oswalt was okay. I'm just pointing out certain things, but he was okay. One joke didn't land. The streams crossed. Well, no, the streams didn't cross. It was the ice bender stream. Oh, wow. I actually caught ahead of my notes here. Why didn't everybody copper up? I still don't know why. The horns. It was mentioned that the horns are where his true power comes in. And you kind of they don't touch on that too much. Like, kills the guy who thinks is the fire master, goes in, takes his horns, put them in. Very good effect. Looked really, really damn cool and scary. And, they furl out. So he's able to do his full, Sub-Zero powers. So I get that. I just wish part of the movie could have been, hey, we can hold him, shoot off those horns to weaken him. And then that way we can figure it out. That's how you get rid of Firebender Man with all the other knowledge you have. Like, he can just heat up everything. Maybe, I don't even know if you need him. If you pay attention to the horn thing, make him shoot off the horn, copper beam, put him in the giant trap, and you're clean. I don't know. That's just a thought that I had. No. I think I've covered everything. Phoebe's challenge. Phoebe being put in jail twice, back-to-back movies because she has a mouth on her. They won't let you hear her curse. I love the fact whatever she said to Walter Peck, Mayor Walter Peck, that he's like, I can put you in jail if you blah, 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 blah. And she says the thing. That's great. Love that. PKE, fire, blah, 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 blah. Test, blah, 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 blah. But food, blah, 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 blah. So, that was Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Mention library ghosts, mention library. Is there anything else? I think I've hit all of my points and all of my strides. So, with all of this, the coup de grace at the end of the movie, they trick Walter Peck into saying, the Ghostbusters are here to stay. He's going to work with them. You even have one guy in the background he says, trust them and don't be mean to him, dickless. Because Peter called him dickless in the first movie. It's true. This man has no dick. Peter is even there because he's trying to come up and say, you caused all of this, which is actually true. I love the fact that Phoebe pointed out to him, last time you came down on them, you caused a cataclysmic event. Technically, this one was Phoebe's fault, but and Winston already having the backups, so smart. I love that we circumvented that stuff. But towards the end, she calls Gary dad and goes, Gary. It's amazing. I love it. I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm excited for the rest of this franchise. It feels nice to be happy about things again. Even Star Wars Acolyte, right? I liked it. I liked the trailer. I have hope for it. So all of this is just great. For me, with some of my little nitpicks, kind of stop it from being a 5 out of 5. I'm giving this a 4.5 out of 5 because acting and characters alone made this movie amazing. The extra stuff we see with the new equipment, some of the throwbacks from old movie to Afterlife as well. Great stuff. It was fun. 4.5 out of 5. Solid. Just a solid 4.5 out of 5. Some of the inconsistencies killed it, but not too much. All right, guys, let me know what you thought of the movie in the comment section below. Please let me know who your favorite Ghostbuster is in the comment section as well. Hit the like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified of more reviews just like this one. Please be good, be blessed. Wash your hands, drink some water. Be safe out there, all right? Be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk, all right? There are people out there that love you and care about you. Don't be like Phoebe and run off and run away. Talk to somebody. Reach out to someone if you're having dark thoughts. There are people out there that love you and would rather talk to you today than to miss you tomorrow. I promise you. All right? All right? My social media is in the description below, right underneath that Patreon link. Give me a follow. Send me a message. I promise I won't be a jerk. As long as you aren't going to be a jerk, we'll be just fine. Well, guys, I got to go and bust some more ghosts. No, I don't. I don't have a proton pack or anything like that. So until next time, I'm looking forward to it. Pay attention. I'm going to send out a Ghostbusters Afterlife review sometime this week as well. Can't wait to see you guys. Bustin' makes me feel good.